great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, BusinessDay is your guide.
For 25 years, BusinessDay has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, BusinessDay now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new BusinessDay website today and experience the future of news.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shred of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Moses.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shred of doubt.
For 25 years, Business Day has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, Business Day now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new Business Day website today and experience the future of news.
Good morning. It's a beautiful Thursday morning right here in Lagos, and you're tuned into the Business Morning Live Show on Business Day Television. And as usual, we've got a packed morning ahead, and we're going to be starting off with the morning news. We then move to the newspaper review. We'll bring you the conversations on the show and wrap up with the social listening segment. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you the morning news. To stay with us. Welcome to the Business Day Business Live News. I am Deborah Eze. Let's see what's making headlines. CBN eases bank access to discount window after FX bond trades. Nigeria-India trade climbs to $9 billion as economic ties deepen. Ex-NICOM chair warns against political intervention in insurance recapitalization. And South Africa's jobless rate rises to 4-year high. Let's begin the news. The Central Bank of Nigeria has removed restrictions that previously prevented banks from accessing its standing lending facility, also known as the discount window, after participating in foreign exchange transactions and primary auctions of government securities. The change follows a review of the framework governing access to the discount window, tenured repo operations, and open market operations, as Apex Bank seeks to improve money market functioning and strengthen monetary policy transmission. Under the revised rules, banks can now participate in Nigerian foreign exchange market and purchase government securities at primary auctions without those activities limiting their access to the CBN's emergency liquidity facility. The move is expected to give banks greater flexibility in managing liquidity while allowing them to participate more actively in the FX and government securities market. And moving on, trade between Nigeria and India has risen to about $9 billion in the 2025 to 2026 financial year, up from $7.13 billion recorded the previous year, as both countries expand cooperation beyond traditional oil trade. India's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Abhishek Singh, says the partnership is increasingly covering energy, defense, healthcare, and agriculture, technology, and investment. More than 200 Indian companies currently operate in Nigeria across sectors, including pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, power, construction, and consumer goods, while their combined investment supporting nearly 100,000 Nigerian jobs, according to the envoy. Energy security remains a major area of cooperation, while both countries are also seeking deeper collaboration in areas such as CNG conversion, LPG infrastructure, pipeline security, and technology. With trade now approaching $10 billion, Abuja and New Delhi are positioning the relationship for broader economic and strategic cooperation. And in other news, former Commissioner for Insurance and former Chief Executive of NICOM, Mohammed Kari, has warned the federal government against intervening in regulatory decisions concerning the ongoing recapitalization of Nigeria's insurance industry. In an open letter to the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Kari argued that ministerial intervention in matters within NICOM's statutory mandate could weaken regulatory independence and undermine confidence in the sector. Its comments follow petitions by NICOM Insurance and Nigeria Re to the Ministry of Finance over NICOM's requirement relating to recapitalization, capital verification, and escrow arrangements under the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025. Kari said granting special treatment to operators that have not met the requirement could disadvantage the more than 90% of insurers that have compiled the recapitalization process, raising broader concerns about the credibility and consistency of insurance regulation in Nigeria. And so in the news, South Africa's unemployment rate climbed to 33.6% in the second quarter of 2026, up from 32.7% in the first quarter, according to Statistics South Africa. The latest figure is the highest recorded since the second quarter of 2022. The number of unemployed people increased by about 345,000 to 8.5 million, even as the country's labor force expanded by 25.2 million. Employment, meanwhile, fell slightly during the quarter. The deterioration underscores South Africa's persistent challenge of creating enough jobs to absorb its growing working age population, with young people particularly affected. The latest figures are likely to intensify pressure on the government to accelerate economic reforms, attract investment, and strengthen sectors capable of generating sustainable employment. And that does it this morning on the news. Up next is the newspaper review. Just stay with us.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, BusinessDay is your guide.
This is still the Business Day CEO from the 14th annual edition, and I've got a very lovely woman by my side this afternoon. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Absolutely. I'm Aderemi Saka. I'm the MD CEO of NASCON Allied Industries PLC, also known as Dangote Salt.
Fantastic. I'm going to start by asking you a simple question, really. NASCON Allied Industries relies almost entirely on imports, for its core raw materials, bringing in roughly $22 million to $24 million worth of goods annually. Now, tell me, how has this crisis in the Middle East, which has virtually halted, shipping fundamentally, has it shifted your organization's long-term approach to maritime risk management?
For us, it hasn't really impacted in terms of our imports, but the cost of importation has gone up. Our freight charges used to run between $21 and $25, and now we're seeing freight anywhere from $31 to $40. So that definitely has a significant impact on our cost. But what we are doing as a business is to also look at ways in which we can trim down on other costs. And so we've really looked at cost-saving initiatives across the board to be able to cushion that weight, because you definitely don't want to pass that on to your consumers.
Right. So we see many manufacturers they are increasingly turning to backward integration to reduce their dependence on imported raw materials. So how has this strategy helped your company?
In terms of backward integration of salt, that is very difficult because based on research, salt you're not able to cultivate and to manufacture salt at the large scale within the country. But we're looking at all our other resources to see how we can really rely on local manufacturers. That is across the board in terms of our packaging material, in terms of other additives that we have to not just our salt, but also our seasoning. We're definitely relying more on local manufacturers to support those endeavors.
Now, you talked about something right there on the stage. You mentioned that energy costs amounts to up to 40% of your total input costs. So tell us more about that, just break it down for us.
So that is an average across the nation, across manufacturing companies. You're seeing 30 to 40% of your costs are from energy costs. So what we have done as a business is one, we try to ensure that all of our plants, they're running in the most efficient manner. We have a mix of both AGO generators and gas power generators, and so that is able to mitigate some of that cost. And then again, but the major thing I would say is efficiency, ensuring that you're producing in an efficient manner, and you're optimizing your capacity, so that way your variable costs are significantly less per product.
Fantastic. I think we'll just leave it there today because we know you have to run and we have to wrap up. But thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
This is still the Business Day CEO from the 14th annual edition, and I've got a very lovely woman by my side this afternoon. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Absolutely. I'm Aderemi Saka. I'm the MD CEO of NASCON Allied Industries PLC, also known as Dangote Salt.
Fantastic. I'm going to start by asking you a simple question, really. NASCON Allied Industries relies almost entirely on imports, for its core raw materials, bringing in roughly $22 million to $24 million worth of goods annually. Now, tell me, how has this crisis in the Middle East, which has virtually halted, shipping fundamentally, has it shifted your organization's long-term approach to maritime risk management?
For us, it hasn't really impacted in terms of our imports, but the cost of importation has gone up. Our freight charges used to run between $21 and $25, and now we're seeing freight anywhere from $31 to $40. So that definitely has a significant impact on our cost. But what we are doing as a business is to also look at ways in which we can trim down on other costs. And so we've really looked at cost-saving initiatives across the board to be able to cushion that weight, because you definitely don't want to pass that on to your consumers.
Right. So we see manufacturers they are increasingly turning to
Welcome back. You're just in time for the newspaper review segment, where we explore the major stories making headlines across the nation's newspaper. I am Deborah Eze, and of course I'm not doing this alone. Joining me to analyze the headlines is
Mohamed Akonji. Good morning, audience. Good morning, Deborah.
I'm very well, Mo. You're welcome. It's Thursday, a beautiful one at that. I like the month of August because it's always
Okay.
I'm sure
I put words in your mouth.
everyone here already knows, and you're used to the fact that you always want to find a way to tackle me, and you never succeed in it. I was
One of August is good anyway.
I was talking about the weather. The weather that comes with August is really cool, calm. It's not as as harsh as the economy. It's not.
It was, in fact, maybe a very long while, I didn't really sleep well.
Okay.
Talking about yesterday.
Okay, that's me and you. I've not slept well since Friday.
Okay. Yesterday.
Okay.
Because I went out and I look at the sun. The sun yesterday was massive.
No, it wasn't.
My God.
Is that what you call massive?
Because I was in it and I felt, in fact, I was having traces of malaria as a result when I got back.
So I think it's because the weather has been really cool. Yesterday was like the only day that the sun actually came out. But you can't compare the sun from yesterday to what we experienced from the month of March.
I know I can't say that, but I'm trying to see how that affected me because I saw that. I woke up this morning, in fact, in a very long while.
Right.
I went out to work this morning and I was trying to be able to doze off for a while before I came into the studio because I started feeling when I could go back yesterday. I had a program at Lekki, so I went there. I was at the event. So I last wanted to pick up a Lekki phase 1. This was the Lekki market, the Lekki phase 1. But if I go back to the office again, I have 3 periods. I just started feeling some this sun. And I was like, oh my God, it's been a very long while anyway. So that's why I said that maybe I don't really be able to feel. It's just like me talking to you now that
you're feeling very energetic. Of course, you would feel relaxed.
Talking to you.
All right, let's now take a look at what the front pages of the Business Day, The Guardian, Punch, Vanguard are reporting this morning before we wrap up with the cartoon of the day. Now, kicking off with the Business Day newspaper, as the story on the front page reads, Nigeria's improving investor pitch runs into a tax problem. Nigeria's improving investor pitch runs into a tax problem, and that's the big story
about struggling Nigeria's economy. I'm sure you can see what you have read now.
Anyways, let's go right to it. No, I didn't say struggling, I said ash.
Ash economy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're two different things. All right, so at the top
this economy, right, that you read, Nigeria's improving economy.
Improving does not really mean it's not harsh.
Okay.
Yeah, let's really put it on the table.
Okay. So
it's improving. It's only if there is a problem that something tends to improve, right? Exactly. So there's an economy that is still harsh. So we're not struggling. So that's two different things. No, we're not today. All right, at the top of the Business Day newspaper, we have Nigeria's dollar millionaire rise for first time in 4 years, and that is on page 20 of the Business Day newspaper.
Not as well, right?
Not hash. And we have Ogun governorship meets the 15 contenders for Saturday's showdown. Oh, I like this. Osun governorship meets the 15 contenders for Saturday's showdown. Oh, this is actually a good one from Business Day, by the way. We have ex-insurance regulator warns against government meddling in industry recapitalization, and that's all the stories on the Business Day newspaper. We are winding down to the Osun State election, and days ahead, just few days. Yeah. Just 48 hours to the D-Day. And actually, having to meet all of the 15 contenders, I think that's actually a very good piece. It's usually not something like we get to see, except, we're seeing like maybe an infograph or a kind of feature of this people.
I think that's what we did here. I mean, kudos to us. I mean, for having this spotlight. I'm sure that our audience are too, when they read this, they will. So apart from the major contenders,
let's look at the numbers. Okay.
I mean, apart from the major contenders, everybody's talking about the Adeleke, the Babiji of APC, the Najib Salam of ADC.
Okay.
So let us understand. So yesterday we heard what INEC did. The fact that the court order urging them to recognize the candidate of the SDP. That means the 14 initially. In fact, INEC quickly have to go and reproduce. We produced ballot papers because SDP had an issue. They were never inserted. SDP's name, the candidate was actually not on the ballot until yesterday. So I think the judgment was on 22nd of July. I received it on Tuesday, and that's really to quickly, swing into action. And by swinging into action is simply to ensure that the man was actually included. So we have 15 of them that will actually be justly for the seat in Abere. Okay, Abere is like their own seat of power. Yeah, like we have a Marina here. Ikeja here. So I'm sure when we them, Osun people and from Nigerians as well can be able to make of that as they actually wish. Some of them we've seen the town hall. We've heard some of them as well in terms of what they are going to be able to do. The person sitting there at the moment is actually requesting for Osun people to give me a second term. What he would do differently in the second term. The other candidate who was actually Jocelyn, who are gunning for the job though that he has at the moment, I wasn't able to, tell us about alternatives, some other things that they will likely do. So why, as much as possible, this should be able to interest the Osun people more, the Osun voters, but I'm sure that the wider Nigerians can also be able to see, so that we can be able to put them on the pedestal. What is going to make this candidate, better than this particular one, I'm sure that this one is not actually able to contain them.
Yeah, and I think they have
one or two things that are looking with the economy.
Okay.
I know. Well, I think you're trying to evade me by coming to politics first. And I think two things there first, we saw no millionaires.
Yes. I'm shocked.
Okay.
I must say I'm really shocked. You're having millionaires in dollars.
Now, exactly. The Nigerian exchange produced $900 million in dollars. 900. It might be a drop in the ocean. Maybe that's telling two things. Maybe our listeners at home to ensure that the market is booming. The market is in green. People are really, using the word of the Gen Z's cashing out. People are really cashing out in the market. And our audience at home can also be able to take advantage of this. Depending on your slant. Personally, I don't engage in interest-based transactions, for example, but I do have interest transactions that I invested in, and I know the returns I'm getting. So that's what I'm talking about. Regardless of, depending on your personal beliefs and personal postures. So the market is really producing millionaires. So apart from that, these are millionaires in dollars, new ones, because the market capitalization has jumped from 30 billion to 30 trillion to 180 trillion.
Right.
So that's the amount of money that's been created. So even though it's from portfolio investments, no doubt about that, but the amount of money that is being created, the multiplier effect from 30 trillion of market cap to 180 trillion, that's money. There's money creating money. That's what NGX does. So these are people benefiting. So how should we ensure that this is not restricted to only 900 and other Nigerians too, right? Can also be able to benefit. I think that is one. And the other one there is the investor speech. We've seen investors who have actually also been able to come down. People don't disagree with me because they say the economy is harsh. Anyway, I agree, because it's improving. But I think the issue around there is about capital gain tax. Okay. Because so capital gain tax is, you have 1,000 naira, your 1,000 has become 2,000 naira, you have gained something. So that's to be taxed by the government, right? They're taxing investment. You want to tax your original investment of 1,000. You want to tax the gain that the investment has brought. So there are a lot of lack of clarity around that from the Nigerian Tax Act that started January this year. And I'm sure this is what foreign investors, as much as the economy is improving, they are bringing in their money, but that tied to the first story about more money that's been created. A lot of them are also clear is and government, what is government's position about capital gain tax? And that is, I think, the story Rasu, one of our economic correspondents, will put out there. I'm sure the ideas at home will get a good feel, reading some of these stories and seeing the angles that will actually be able to explain as well what capital gain tax is all about. I think most of these actually contain this story.
All right, for you to get a hack of the story, you have to pick up a BusinessDay newspaper or go on our website and, get the story. Now let's move to the Guardian newspaper. The big story on The Guardian this morning reads, donor fatigue. It can only take toll on blood donation in health facilities. And that is on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. And we also have rights groups, CSOs demand withdrawal of foreign aid bill. And that is on page 4 of The Guardian newspaper. And also Kebbi to support families of 10 slain police officers as more terrorists surrender. And that is on page 29. And we also have 2027 Cross River Kogi introduced new campaign advert to Reef. And that is on page 7. At the left corner of The Guardian newspaper, we have the Osun polls. Fear of violence mounts as parties groups trade allegations. And that is on page 6. And also Tinubu approves procurement of 35 linear accelerators for cancer treatment. And that is on page 7. At the top of The Guardian newspaper, we have Nigeria-US Old Fresh security talks amid concerns on fiscal transparency. And that is on page 3. Picketing Airpeace says unions will pay third-party compensation, and that is on page 4. And also 2027, ADC reviews opposition coalition's plan to challenge Tinubu, and that is on page 3. And we can also see an infograph of the blood donation, the donor fatigue, 1.5 million units annual deficit. We can see barrier and consequences. The 1.5 million units is producing only 2 million units.
So 2 million units.
What is needed?
Only 500,000
units. Only 500 collected units. That's right.
Just a gap of 1.5 million,
and only 10% are voluntary donors. What did you blame them?
What's last time you donated blood to? Let me ask you.
Blood?
Oh.
I'm supposed to ask questions here. When was the last time you...
So, I think the way we read the story around the economy, we make credence to the ash economy that Deb mentioned in your intro. The fact that people are not donating again, donating blood because of the economy. Because if you don't want to donate yourself, are you well nourished, right? Have you eaten so well that you can be able to do that? But I think this infographics and this deep dive that Guardian did today was just to be able to explain to Nigerians and to show the gap, that we have in blood donation within that particular space, where the amount of blood that's actually needed, annual target, right? There are 200 million pints, as we call it, used to be able to measure that. 2 million pints, is actually needed. But about 500,000 is actually made available as a result of many factors, the critical of which, or primary of which, is the current economic realities that is taking a toll on every Nigerian. We can't rule out that particular factor. It's a very, very key factor there. And that gap there, I've actually been able to quit that. So the story also, put credence or paint a very vivid picture as well of how much it costs to actually be able to do that, the consequences of that, the human cost, as well as sometimes anyway, human myth and beliefs.
Are we allowed to donate blood? Speaking about beliefs.
Yes.
Okay.
Allowed to. Oh God, I mean, it's allowed.
Okay. Do you donate?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's good.
I've not done this yet, but I usually do.
Okay. Why have you not done this? Are you part of the?
I think the member. Not because of the economy taking a toll.
Okay.
I should be able to mention that. I've not just done that. But I know sometimes I go to the hospital, you have blood to donate to. There's a particular blood bank that I know I did. I'm not sure I did last year too.
Yeah.
But I'm sure 2024 I did. And but I agree that Nigerians will definitely not be able to do that because of reality with it. But before you can donate, if you ask yourself, do you have more blood?
Do you?
Before you talk about that. So I maybe that's what's actually causing that. But I think belief, just like I said, for some people, apart from that, hunger is there, they also see beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? So people just believe, diabolical means. I have heard some people
diabolical?
Yeah. They're saying something like, you know what I'm going to use that blood for. Then you go and use that blood. I'm saying, when he asked them, why you not do said, I can't touch anybody with my blood, bro. They just want to take my blood to, the people that they call them. I was wondering, that's the wildest thing that I've ever heard in my life. Someone was saying that I was going to do it, so I was going to take my blood. I was just wondering,
maybe because we don't have enough sensitization when it comes to blood donation. I think that's just
what people need it.
Yeah.
We have accidents around, we have some of these bloods. Many people that are O carriers, they are. Remember they're universal donors.
Yeah.
They can do. But when I heard that from someone, this I just told you. I was like, they just take your blood. That who knows what
there is a particular.
To me, I felt like that was the most ridiculous thing. That was the time that I heard about beliefs. Apart from hunger is, I understand that there's some of these diabolical beliefs, some of these,
also religious belief. I believe because they have. There's a particular. I'm not going to mention names. Okay. There is a particular religion. Denomination, not the Christian religion, that's forbidden. They've been doing that for years. It was until I think beginning of this year that we had a lot of clashback from the Gen Z's social media. That's why they now and then we now think about the people that have died from
not having access
because of their beliefs. So
we tell them
it's against you. Don't do that. You're not going to enter the kingdom of God if you donate blood. He created a laws on social media. They will not. The person will die. They believe that if the person dies, God wants to take the person, and the person. It is a cult.
That's a religion. Because humanity is very, very important.
Very important.
Life is sacrosanct.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why someone will just have this bad imagination and tell you
not to. We have a lot of that.
It is that.
Let's talk about the picketing. The picketing. I think it's fair. So they have to pay the third party. the third party compensation.
But you as a customer who paid the money or paid this. So if FPC has not done the right thing, because we're talking about their own workers who down tools. Because the question now is the third party, what FP is actually telling you, there was a serious crisis at the airport on Tuesday. So workers are entitled to be able to go on strike if some of their things are not met. What I'm saying is, if their demands, if their welfare, you have to say,
was it FP staffs that they said to do? Exactly, exactly. If they decide not to no, come on. If
now has them to pay, the question is, they're going to ask them to be able to pay the top.
Because I didn't want to be part of your solidarity forever. I didn't want to be part of that.
If the benefit comes, you benefit from it, right?
But I didn't want to be part of it. Of course, and that's why it has affected me. Of course. So I think I want to be part of the compensation.
It's a borderline issue, I understand. But at the same time, if that eventually comes to fruition and they say we are going to be able to get this pay, nobody will remove Deborah Eze off the list, right? Your name will be there. I'm just saying. Nobody will remove it and say, no, this one is not part of us. I'm just saying we're all fighting for the same. I said, okay, no, I don't want to be part of the fight. You stay aloof. But if the dividend comes, you also want to benefit. So I know it is, at the same time, we can't force you to want to join the organization as well, so that it's not become cult. I mean, because I picked that word from you. Yes, at the same time, but we know that they said injury to one. I know
injury to all.
Injury to all. So the same way, benefit of one should be the benefit of all. So I'm sure that the picketing happened in that regard. You have customers suffer losses, people that have meetings to go, activities that have been grounded, money will be paid for that. So I'm sure that there'll be a middle ground. Maybe that's what I will say. Because I can't say it's not really black and white. But I say this is actually wrong, this is right. Workers, as you say, workers also have the right to demand for better welfare. The same way you that have paid my money to as my airline provider, you're going to provide the service to me. If you don't do that, you need to actually be able to compensate me. So I think, and then the other one there is fiscal transparency. So you can take it quickly. One of the bad way to talk about US, we're trying to be able to do that. Because the issues around that some items in the budget, they are there are some, what's it called? There are unbudgeted items. The federal government actually be able to spend more. I am with some flag. But I think the government is trying to be able to ensure fiscal transparency, because it's only with fiscal transparency, right, that we will be able to understand budget performance and economic performance. So I think it's actually a very good thing that the Nigerian government is actually doing that.
All right, let's move to the Punch newspaper. The big story of the Punch newspaper this morning reads: State Police Presidency closes public submission today. And that the riders to the stories, we have Tinubu gets final draft September 3rd after presidential working groups appraisal. And the rider to that big story reads: National Assembly to receive state police bill after president's review. And also, state police law will guard against governor's abuse, say presidency. And that story is on page 7. At the top of the Punch newspaper, Osun poll, INEC adds SDP to ballot, distributes sensitive materials. And we have Akpabio, Uzodinma, governors arrive for APC mega rally, police grill. That's Father Hussein, and that is on Father Hussein, and that's on page 8. And we have economists back US faults Nigeria's fiscal transparency, and that is on page 2. That's what you just talked about. At the bottom of the Punch newspaper, we have federal government approves tax waivers for 4,000 electric vehicles, and that is on page 19. 168 solar street lights stolen on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and that is page 4 and 5. And also, Army moves to begin operations at 4 new divisions, and that is on page 9. Really, this vandalism, I think it's wickedness. I spoke about this on Tuesday. It is. I saw the video. The festival Akija. That's sheer wickedness, and at the end of the day,
among
our citizens,
because of I've not really been passing through Tottenham and Bridge, but I heard some of the damage and people have done. The level of vandalism. Cables, manholes. Somebody will just that is stupidity. We just go there, remove all those things. Is it the street light they put there in the night?
And they sell it for
peanuts, for pittance. That's exactly why. Thank God, because I feel like I thank God you agree with me, because I thought you was telling me in my office that it's not greed.
No, That's wickedness.
It's survival.
It's my money, your money. That is doing this.
And for convenience as well.
Exactly.
Imagine you are going there in the night, somebody has removed all the solar light. Just remove all the cables. And because you sing, and somebody is telling me, because the person was saying this, I saw his greed, but somebody was telling me, just a friend.
No.
I respect his opinion. They say, no, it's the right survival. I was like, no. But people here, even if all of us are millionaires, some people will still be this down to earth, wanted to be able to do this rubbish. And that's exactly that. I think they needed to actually be able to weigh in on them.
Yeah.
Because thank God you saw that video that was circulated over the weekend. And I was, you see, when
didn't happen.
I tried to have been arrested. The Commissioner of Environment went there. Maybe we didn't just be able to follow up to the story.
Yeah.
For some of those other ones, some of them for their benefits. Look at what they did to the under bridge.
They drilled. His gravity or something.
What they do? They
drilled it.
Exactly. So thank God. What I'm saying is about survival. I cannot wrap my head. Right?
There's a difference. It's between survival and greed.
So that's danger.
This is wickedness.
But of course, let me chime in on the state police video.
Yes, please.
Today, of course, I don't know whether you already participated as well, because whatever concerns everybody has was submitted today. The presidential working group, the presidential working group on that will get all their documents today. Don't forget that the National Assembly have passed the bills,
right.
So they want Nigerians as well, because like a public bill. If you have any concern, if you have any particular section of the bill that needed to be adjusted, they have called for people for the last 3 weeks. It's ending today. So with the anticipation that everyone, right, will be submitted to the president, and that September 3rd, maybe the much anticipated or the much touted police bill. All
right. Let's take a look at the cartoon of the day. What do we have on the cartoon this morning? And of course, this cartoon reads, "The president does it alone." The president eats once.
Checks.
And the president treks to the office. Do you want to chime in on
that? So the man that the caricature of the man there is the minister, is the NRS. Zakadedeji was actually the one. And that's widely circulated interview that he had on Sunday in one of the other popular TV station was the fact that when he asked me a question, have you not seen the president that is telling Nigerians to tighten their belts, right? He's actually living large.
Right.
And I was like, no, this is a man that checks to office every day. You see,
that's really cute. Yeah, checks to the office.
The president is the one trekking to the office every day. The one that have you seen him with a large convoy. He has not traveled out of this. And I agree with him. I know you might. I know you disagree with me anyway. I agree with him because 3 months. Have you seen him travel out of the country last month? We might be that time again that you've seen him travel out of the country, or that you've seen him with a very large, large motorcades, right? So I'm sure there's that debate about he was traveling in what's it called, Escalade. Escalade. There's another name they call Escalade. Escalade. The Escalade. The Escalade that the president is buying. That it was like, how much is the Escalade?
It's easy.
What's going on? Escalade.
That's a name for later. Okay. All right.
So I think that's what he's saying here. That the president eats once in a day. That's what I don't believe. But the idea that the president checked to the office that.
But is that even a thing to say?
No, because
we're talking about concerns here.
The question the guy asked was the fact that the president traveled in a very large entourage.
Yeah.
And it was like, when was the last time you see that? The president trek from his home to the office every day. And
he has to. He's an old man.
Of course.
All right. He has to trek.
That was what brought that about.
All right. Thank you for joining us in the studio this morning. That is all that we can take for the newspaper review segment. Up next is our topics of conversations this morning. Just stay with us.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, BusinessDay is your guide.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that BusinessDay television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that BusinessDay television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musa.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musa.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter.
For 25 years, Business Day has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, Business Day now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new Business Day website today and experience the future of news.
Welcome back to the Business Morning Live Show right here on Business Day Television. Let's now move to our topics of conversation this morning. For businesses operating in an increasingly competitive and cost-conscious environment, marketing is no longer simply about visibility. Companies are spending heavily on advertising, events, digital campaigns, sponsorship, and brand experiences. But the bigger question is, what are they gaining in return? As businesses face rising operating costs and consumers become more deliberate about where they spend, the pressure is growing is justifying every naira invested in marketing. Beyond impressions, likes, and media visibility, businesses need to understand how brand spending translates into customer acquisition, retention, sales, and ultimately profitability. So, how can companies build brands while ensuring their marketing budgets contribute directly to the bottom line? That is our focus this morning as we look at maximizing marketing ROI and turning brand spending into measurable business growth. And joining us on this conversation this morning is Victoria Ajenipa. She's a brand and event strategist. Good morning, Victoria. It's good to have you.
Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for having me.
You look very beautiful, by the way.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's start off with the fundamentals. Explain to us what businesses should consider when they're trying to determine whether their marketing investments actually translate into value.
All right, thank you so much for having me, and it's really nice to see you. I love you.
Thank you.
So I feel like it is important for business to understand the uniqueness of their products or services and the leverages they have in market space.
Right.
So understanding, okay, what value their product is and how they can inherently define it and allow the market to demand it. Because it is said that a market defines what the product should be, and it is largely true. However, when you have a product, you need to also help your market to see the value to be able to demand it. So it means that you have to be very, very patient as a business person. You need to also learn your product, because it's one thing to I have this product, is going to sell like this. You are not the market, so you need to be humble enough to understand the parts of the product that appeals to the market, understand your pricing, understand the leverage unique to you, then keep investing.
You're indeed a strategist, because you sound like one. Now we understand that the economy is actually under pressure due to control costs, and you can't control the cost of things. That's the kind of economy that we're at now. So how do you think companies should determine how much to allocate to marketing and brand strategy or brand building?
I love the question, actually, because I am very pro what is your budget.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people just want to it's two things. Is that people are like, okay, we have money to spend, or we don't have money and we are not able to compete. Meanwhile, what you essentially need is to be consistent and clear. And also, when you know the budget you have, you can maximize it to the best of its value. I have an events company, so I'm an event planner, and one of that people undermine the resources and leverages they have. So back to your question, for companies to be able to maximize what they have in, and also balancing the economy, it's important to understand what your budget is. You can plan a 500,000 project or event, and when you maximize the value and the leverages you have, and you are able to okay, I have 500,000, it means that I cannot do this, these are the things I can do. You would deliver more than when you, for example, have 5 million naira and you did not plan the budget.
Right.
So I really believe that budget understanding and working around your leverages, because as we are whatever business, we can both sell this laptop differently, and that is limited to the leverages we have as people. So there are people that know you in your industry, right, and people that I know are maybe different. But how do I appeal to my leverage? How do you appeal to your leverage? So I really believe that understanding leverage right, and also prioritizing the value of your budget and what you can maximize would help.
Right. So budgets, now we've established that. But speak to us about some of the biggest mistakes that this, agencies, let's call them agencies now, make when it comes to advertising, events, sponsorship. What are the biggest mistakes that they actually make?
The biggest mistake, in my opinion, is investing in finding sponsorship.
Right.
To start.
Investing in finding sponsorship.
Okay. Because I realize that when you do that passionately without investing in the quality of your product or service, by the time you are done finding the sponsorship, you are tired. So it means that the investment on the product is not as commensurate to what you need to signal the investors. Right. So it's important to directly invest in your product, invest in your consistency, be your primary sponsor. And when you are that person and you're consistent, it helps other people and investors okay, I want to be part of this. So business owners and maybe agencies, like you call them, might not necessarily be patient enough to understand it. So I feel like understanding that the process is going to take a while, helps you to balance that. Okay, how long can I fly solo for example? How long can I do this for? What are the things I have to cut cost on? And okay, how do I keep, investing and refining the quality of my product or service to make sure that I am sustainable in myself. So it is when you are able to sustain yourself as a business person or as a product seller that you can become like a lead person in that industry eventually, and find people that, okay, you have been consistent, I want to be part of this.
Right. So how do you think these businesses can actually connect their marketing strategy more directly to the customers, the consumers, and also to profitability, instead of going through like spending so much on sponsorship? How can they get directly to their customers and then still, have the goal of profit?
All right. So yes, there's the parts where you have to enhance the point of quantity marketing. Right. It works, but before it works, you need to also know the product that people do not mind to buy in that quantity. All right, so it means that you need to let your customer define the product out of like the kind of product you have, like the beautiful hair you have on. There's a way you can pack it that would attract particular kind of audience, and there's a way that you can repack it that it will attract other kind of people. So it means that you need to test your product or service, and it will take time. So when you test it, even if it is not just, they're not just demanding, they're inquiring, oh, I love this, it means that there's something that is signaling to them in the product or service you have. So when you are really able to establish what your demand, your product that is being demanded is, then you can now come up with strategies like, okay, I'm going to run like a promo, I'm going to run for this time, but then you also need to have a time bound. You cannot just do, and you cannot also be seen as someone that's just doing promo all the time to just have sales. Your promo has to be connected to the value that your audience, that appeals to your audience, and also it has to now be something that, it is time bound, so that you do not also lose your investment, and you are also practical enough to like, okay, if for example, I'm selling a ticket for an event, I'm giving you a discount from this week to next week. It means that if you want to enjoy that value that the ticket has, you need to find a way to secure it. And you also need to be fine with when it is not so perfect. It means that I like to start things from the worst case scenario. So when you're like, oh, what's the worst case scenario? It means that the worst case scenario in this business sales is that I would not sell anything. So, okay, I would not sell anything. What is my leverage? I have a product that I want to be consistent about. That is already some kind of achievement for you. So most of the time when you do that and you are able to now break down strategies, I cannot just give you strategies now, because also we need to identify a particular product to build around. And so when you now like start from the worst case scenario and you work with strategies, or you yourself are able to define what would appeal to your clients and you test it, by the time you market it, you would be comfortable enough to push it passionately, because like, okay, that's the worst case scenario, and at the end you'll be able to sell something. Right.
Let's speak about events now, and also experimental marketing. That is, a major tool for brands. Thank you. So how do you think companies can determine whether events will generate genuine business value for them?
I think
how do you convince them?
No, I feel like the question is a little bit, it's in two ways now.
Two ways, yeah.
Are you saying that how do we make sure that events are valuable to
the business?
Yeah. And also how to convince people to...
That with events, we can actually bring value to whatever brand or product you're trying to sell.
So the first thing to do is really to define the uniqueness of what makes your event. Because people, especially in Lagos, I was telling somebody yesterday that, I have like a networking event I planned for my community. I'm like, I need this and that. What is unique about this event? How can you relate it to the audience you want them, that you want in attendance? So yes, it's just a lot of definition, and no matter how you define, there's always value in everything. It just depends on the person that is looking at it and the person that needs the service. So when you are able to break it down, to the essentials. It means that you're now like, okay, this is the value I have. But then now there's another thing to now sell it to people that want to buy it. I feel like the best way to sell anything is to be confident about it. Like, oh my God, I love it. So a lot of people will now come and say, like, why do you even love it? What's special about it? But the first thing that you are able to passionately put yourself on the table makes them listen. That gives you the audience. So that you now want to come up, okay, these are the things that it comes with, and this is how I price it. So it means that ordinarily for this kind of events, for this kind of opportunity where you really like have impactful speakers that charge particular amounts, large sum to even for you to even have access. Okay, I'm bringing them to this particular event. Okay, we're going to be giving you particular access. Okay, you're going to be getting food. So you need to be able to see the essentials of it, and in looking at it critically, you'll be able to extract value.
Right. Let's talk about cutting down budget now, because you're very passionate about asking what your budget is.
Yeah.
So do you think businesses should actually cut down marketing budget during economic periods? Or do you think they just have to go all in and invest more strategically?
No, so I really believe that if it is already working, okay, I feel like the answer is one, because when there's already an economic challenge, you cannot be wise to just keep going all in and spending, because there's no cash in hand, even for the people that love your product to support. So you need to now come down to, okay, what is practical, like what is the purchasing power of my customers? Do I want to they suddenly got such a of the of businesses, and do I want to break it down for them to be able to afford it, or do I the quality of maybe the size? And so what is important to my brand, and you have to take in cognizance to what my clients should be able to afford. So it will be wise to cut down the budget in a way that balances out, because if you're just sticking to your person and the quality and the quantity, then you might just be selling for you alone and not listening to your market. So it's better to cut down the budget in a way that you invest in research, get more data about it, work with professionals in your field like research or strategists that can actually go to the market, ask questions, get actual data, and data would definitely lead you right.
Well, let's speak about data now. How do you think businesses can actually use also analytics to actually develop their marketing ROI?
That's a beautiful thing, right? But yes, like you said, how do they use data to develop? So a lot of people, I'm increasingly understanding that data is just never wrong. It's one thing to just put yourself out there, be putting your business out, but it's another thing to understand who are the people that are interested, what do they think about what this is, and what is their loyalty. Like, for example, there's a different kind of milk brand. People would not go any other place if they don't have that option. So I want this. So you need to understand what is the inspiration behind the customer loyalty. So all of this would help you to know how best to keep pleasing your customers, because more than just investing in getting new customers, retention is powerful and referral sustains businesses. So you need to be able to have surveys. It doesn't mean that it's going to be compulsory. There's a way to, even if in product or in service, do you enjoy this? What do you like about this? What can we do better? So just always try to have feedbacks, and when you get all of those data, actually use them. Then find ways to keep connecting with your buyers. For example, there's some companies that do even things like, maybe we love Deborah on their products just for a particular time. Right. So it's when you just take it over and my friend. Right. So you have to keep coming up with creative ideas to let your customers know that you see them. and it should really help not just your business growth, but you can easily keep track of what those creative investments is doing for your brand.
Right. So what do you think Nigerian businesses should change about the way they tend to approach marketing? What do you think they can do differently?
So I think what Nigerian businesses should importantly do differently is definition of luxury. Right. Not everything is luxury. Luxury, everything that is actually not luxury. Mm-hmm. It is really okay to truthfully say that, okay, I have this apartment, for example, for rent. It is a 2-bedroom flat. It is conducive. Mm-hmm. I don't need to say it is a luxury apartment because there's tiles on the floor. The truth to the quality and the dynamics of your product or service is enough to sell it. So I really hope and want to trust that Nigerian businesses stop sugarcoating the reality, because it now makes even the job of growth and making better updates on whatever you do harder. Because you cannot come and tell me that yesterday that maybe tiles on the floor is luxury, then tomorrow you're now doing actual luxurious things and you're saying it's luxury. So there has to be truth to the quality of product and services.
Right. Thank you very much. Everything you said was really, really eye-opening, and you finally said something that has been at our throat and the tip of our tongue to say. Thank you very much, Victoria, for your time.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for having me.
All right, we'll be speaking to Victoria at Jenipa. She's a brand and event strategist. Now, still to come after the break, we're going to be looking at another conversation, books as business, exploring Nigeria's emerging knowledge economy. Just stay with us. It's good to have you, Mr. Yomi Olubero.
Thank you so very much.
And let me congratulate you again on your appointment as the CEO of Deloitte West Africa.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about our appointment now. What's the expectations when it comes to the appointment to your clients, business alike, and also the stakeholders, regulators? What exactly is the expectation from your appointment?
Well, thank you so very much. So at Deloitte, we say we are AI powered and human led. And what that means is that as an organization, we want to support our clients, our people, and the country at large in leveraging the capabilities that we have within our organizations. Deloitte is the leading global professional services provider by far. It's a $74 billion business with 500,000 people, spread all around the world. And so we've got capabilities across different specialties, right? From tech to AI to data to cyber to just different spectrum of financial advisory capability that clients do need. So my role and what it means to the client is being able to leverage all of those capabilities, bringing expertise within the local market, within the broader Deloitte Africa, which Deloitte Nigeria and West Africa is a member of, and more importantly from within the global network of the firm, to supporting all that our clients really need to achieve. So we're here as enabler, we're here as strategic partners to help our clients achieve their strategic ambitions.
Right, very brilliant. I must say, amazing session you had during the panel session, and you really had lots of insightful, comment to make about that panel session. But what advice, in few words, do you have for CEOs that are actually trying to navigate this economic bandwidth right now? What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I think if I can sum it in one, I think many businesses will make do and will benefit significantly from having strategic advisors to help them navigate all of the bottlenecks that we have. There's just so much that organizations needs to deal with, from the barriers to the constraint to the regulation, while still ensuring they focus on their business.
And so what successful organizations have done is to ensure that they focus on their core operations, core business, core capabilities, but ensuring that they leverage the skill and the expertise of advisors who've got the strength and the breadth and the specialty to handhold them and help them navigate, all of the constraints and all of the challenges. So if I can sum it in one, that would be it, because operating in an environment like Nigeria can be quite challenging. Opportunities are massive. However, navigating and getting through to the end of the game can be very tough. Capital is available, but how accessible, how affordable? Skills are sometimes a challenge. What do you need to do to get them trained, to get them equipped? There are a lot of regulatory risks that you need to deal with. So becoming experts in many of those domains can be very challenging for businesses. So when businesses do that, they have very less time to focus on their own core operations, which is their own primary domain. So my advice, reserve all of your strength and all of your energy to focus on your own primary domain, but make sure that you get strategic advisors and partners to help you through, working in this environment like Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yomilungwe, for stopping by, and congratulations again on your appointment.
Thank you so very much, and I'm really pleased to be here. Fantastic conversation. We didn't have time to go through all of the sessions, but very stimulating. I love what Business Day is doing, and we're very proud that you stayed the course for a quarter of a century. And running this show for the 14th consecutive time is something really commendable. So my appreciation to the publisher, Frank, and to all of you who are supporting the process. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right.
For 25 years, Business Day has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, Business Day now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new Business Day website today and experience the future of news.
Nigeria, a land of boundless energy, driven by the pulse of over 200 million dreams. At the heart of this momentum stands a giant, Seplat Energy, an indigenous powerhouse accounting for a vital share of Nigeria's oil and gas output, propelled by the historic acquisition milestone with the acquisition of ExxonMobil's onshore and shallow water assets, significantly expanding its production capacity and marking its entry into offshore operations. We are the engine of prosperity, Nigeria's leading domestic gas supplier with a total gas production output of 2.7 billion cubic feet, and the landmark Ano gas project delivering first gas. We have elevated our total processed gas output to 855 million standard cubic feet per day onshore. Indeed, we have brought domestic gas utilization to new heights, powering industries and securing energy for millions. But we are not just growing production, we're growing responsibly. By ending routine flares, we are decarbonizing our operations today to protect the Nigeria of tomorrow. Our reach is expanding. From offshore gas distribution to the growth of CNG for transport and industry, we are deepening our presence across the entire value chain. Our impact reaches the grassroots, Through innovative mini-grid projects, we are bringing clean, reliable energy to local communities, fueling economic empowerment where it's needed most. We are more than an energy company. We are a partner in progress, a leader in the energy transition, a giant rooted in Nigeria for Nigeria. Seplat Energy, leading Nigeria's energy transition, powering the future.
Every legacy has a beginning. Ours evolved, built on trust and carried forward as a second-generation family legacy. Bemio has grown into Nigeria's largest cash-in-transit provider, trusted where precision and reliability matter most. But we are more than movement. We deliver protection at every level, from professional guarding to journey management to concierge services. And through Bemio Polo, we reflect the identity, heritage and standards we uphold. This is modern service. This is a legacy in motion. Bemio, your partner to safer living.
At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank.
Now, welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning Live. Let's now move to our second conversation this morning. And we're looking at books as business, exploring Nigeria's emerging knowledge economy. The Nigerian book industry sits at an interesting intersection between education, culture, and commerce, from traditional publishing and bookstores to independent authors, literary communities, digital platform, and book events. The ecosystem is evolving, but its economic potential remains largely untapped. With Nigeria's huge young population and growing demand for knowledge and skills, could books and reading become more than cultural products and emerge as a viable part of the country's knowledge economy? What does it take to make publishing, book selling, and reading commercially sustainable in Nigeria? We explore the size of the opportunity, the challenges holding the industry back, and what needs to change to turn Nigeria's appetite for knowledge into a stronger business ecosystem. And joining us on the show this morning is Olubusayo Makinde. She's the founder of the Bookaholic. Good morning, Olubusayo. It's good to have you on Business Morning Live.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, this is a very interesting conversation because how are we linking books to business, right? So when we talk about books as a business, how significant is the Nigerian book industry today, and what does that market actually looks like?
Books are actually very, very, very significant in today's market. We definitely have the population, we have the talent, we have the stories, but what I would really say is that industry is very undeveloped. It's not working in tune to its potential. So basically, that's what we have on ground right now. But is there a market? Most definitely, there is a significant market, for books in Nigeria.
Right. So Nigeria has a large population and also a large youthful population, like you mentioned. But does that automatically translate into a viable market for books and other knowledge products?
Of course, yes, it does. A lot of people, a lot of young population, a lot of young people want to read, they consume content daily, and most definitely books are also one of the content that can be, that can be the word I'm looking for. It's one of the content that can be, pushed into in today's what's it called, economy.
So, what are the biggest factors you would say are limiting the commercial growth of the Nigeria's publishing industry? Do you think it's affordability? Do you think it's the low reading culture? Do you think it's distribution, piracy, or do you think it's something else entirely?
It's all of the aforementioned. Distribution is one of the issues that we have currently. Also, accessibility is also another issue. When books are expensive, you then make it inaccessible to your audience. So all of the aforementioned are actually issues that we're facing currently.
So how profitable can publishing be in Nigeria? Please break it down for us. Practically we have so many independent authors and also smaller publishing houses. Speak to us about how profitable that sector can be when it comes to publishing in Nigeria.
Okay. Outside of the traditional sale of physical books, we also have e-books, we have audiobooks. What people really need to, when I say people, I mean authors, they really need to invest in pushing out more quality content. Once you put out a quality content, there is a population. A lot of people consume content daily, and books are also a form of content that can be consumed. I believe when you put out quality content in terms of books, there is a market for you, and those books are accessible, they're affordable, and you have a proper distribution channel. I think, yes, there is a structure for you to grow as a publishing house or an author.
Beyond having to sell physical books, what other revenue opportunities exist within the knowledge economy? Speak to us about that.
Okay, we're going to break it down. Outside of just bookstores or booksellers selling physical books, we have literary festivals like Ake Festival that is being held yearly. That is another means of revenue for that industry, for the book industry. Also, we also have the formation of book clubs. And when you have book clubs, you have members pay for subscription just to have that access to not just reading, but being a part of a community and making the whole experience fun and enjoyable for them. So that is another aspect of revenue for the book industry. We can also talk about podcasts. We have a lot of emerging podcasts on the book industry, mostly for readers. So that is also another means of revenue, I believe, for the book industry. So outside of just selling, physical books, there's also the part where you can also sell audiobooks, you can also sell ebooks. That is also a means of revenue outside of the literacy communities, festivals, and the likes.
All right, let's speak about technology. I like to link technology to everything. So how much is technology changing the economies of the book industry? And do you think Nigerian publishers and authors are taking advantage of digital platforms enough?
Most definitely, lots of Nigerian authors are, they're taking it enough, because we now have emerging authors who prefer to put out their first body of work on online, where you have your version of your book, the e-copy of your book, and digital copy of your book, and it makes it more accessible. Distribution is easier, as to going out, tell people, oh, I wrote this book, it's in a physical copy, you have to go to a bookstore to buy. A lot of authors are now moving towards, even when they push out the physical copies, we now have sites like Amazon. We have digital books are, less expensive than physical books. So I think a lot of authors, Nigerian authors to be precise, are moving towards that direction.
Have you, Olubusayo? Do we still have you? I don't have you now. Can you hear us? Do we still have you, Olubusayo? Please say something.
Yes, you have me now.
All right. Now let's talk about the perception that Nigerians simply don't read. And do you think that is really the problem, or is it the bigger issue that the industry has not found the right way to reach and also have to engage consumers?
I beg to disagree on that statement. I don't think we have a reading problem per se. It's just that people find reading, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of young Nigerians find reading to be hard. But once you make the experience more fun and enjoyable, most definitely nobody will tell you that reading is, a problem. A lot of young Nigerians actually read, just the same way they consume content. Like I said earlier, it depends on what you're putting out. Once you're putting out something that is quality and it is also accessible, outside of being accessible, you then have the communities also come into play where we try to make the experience better. So after you've read at home, you then come together with like-minded people to discuss the book and just make it an enjoyable experience altogether. So I don't think we have a reading problem per se. We just need to focus on how to make reading as an experience fun and enjoyable, basically.
So let's talk about the roles that schools, government, and private sectors can play, in expanding Nigeria's markets for books and also the knowledge products.
Okay, the schools we really have like a huge role to play. I know most times when children read, it's always they read to they read for examinations, they read to pass the particular examination. And I think right now we're at a point where a lot of schools in Nigeria need to then, have their own, outside of the school curriculum, you then have, because I know we have a lot of schools that have clubs, clubs, maybe the debate club, you have different type of social clubs. So you can also make reading a social participation in your curriculum. So you can have you can have several book clubs spread in schools where children then come in not just to read for I'm reading to pass an examination, I'm reading because I'm going to school. It is then a thing of I'm reading because it is fun and enjoyable, or I'm reading because this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that makes me relax. This is something that I do socially. Also for government, I think government needs to also support a lot of literacy programs, a lot of literacy communities as well. Government really needs to come in and support us in that, in any way, to be honest. So when we have, like I said, like the Arcade Fest, we also have several book festivals in Nigeria. Government can come in and then to support. Could be the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They can come in to support what's called several book clubs in their states, in each state and in each community, basically.
Right. So how do you think Nigerian authors and also publishers compete in an environment where imported books, digital content, and piracy are readily available?
I think, like I've said this before, it all boils down to the quality of books that are being put out, the quality of stories, the quality of books. So once, as an author, once you have a quality product and you also, make it accessible, you can compete, and you can compete in any economy. You can compete with imported books as well. And the thing that is so amazing about this is the fact that we're talking about our lived experiences. We even have an upper hand. We have an upper hand, we have an upper hand when it comes to comparing books by Nigerian or African authors to books that are, by foreign authors. We have our culture, we have our lived experiences to talk about. Our stories are so rich. So once you can put out a quality product, you can compete anywhere, can compete in any economy, in any market.
So what would it take for Nigeria to move from having a culture that produced books to building a sustainable and profitable knowledge economy around them?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
I said, what would it take for Nigeria to move away from just having a culture that produced books, but to move to building a sustainable and profitable knowledge economy around them?
Okay, so to build a profitable, economy around books, we need synergy. We need synergy between, publishing houses. We need synergy between the authors, the publishing houses. We also need the government to come in and support whatever has been done in that industry as of now. A lot of publishing houses don't even print their books here in Nigeria because the cost of printing books in Nigeria is quite high. So a lot of people then outsource this. They go abroad to then print and then import the finished products back to Nigeria. If we have an economy that is vibrant enough, we can print our books here. This is about publishing those. We can print our books here. We already said it. We have the population. We have a very, though it's undeveloped, a ready market. We just need to use it to its full potential. So we need the government to come in place to support a lot of publishing houses in producing, books and publishing books and printing books here in Nigeria. Once we have the support of the government and there's a great synergy between the author and the publishing, houses here in Nigeria, I think it's the goal. It's just a goal.
So I want to ask this last question, right? Away from this, do you think there's enough sensitization amongst book clubs when it comes to authors about book and the economy? Because what people think out there, write books and then it doesn't add to the economy, it doesn't even add to your own pocket. Do you think there's enough sensitization amongst the founder of some of these book clubs on the economic benefits of actually writing a book?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't get the beginning.
All right. So I said that, is there enough sensitization from founders of book clubs to people who are aspiring authors? Because the word out there is that you just write a book, but at the end of the day, it doesn't get to tell in your pocket or even in the economy. But from everything that you've said, we've seen that the book is actually a market that is not fully untapped here in Nigeria. So do you think there should be enough sensitization done to open the eyes of these aspiring authors or even authors, that are already writing?
Of course, there should be a lot of sensitization done in that direction. As an aspiring author, there's this thing where you have the mindset that it's just passion. I'm just writing for passion. There's no money. There's this thing people say you're an author. That industry, there's no money. You're just writing for passion. But it shouldn't be so. A lot of book club founders and literacy communities should synthesize this what's called this emerging authors. That no, there is a readily available market for them, but then Rome is not built in a day. You need to put out, like I said earlier, put out a quality product. When you have a good book and you have a great marketing strategy, and you also have this, like I said, synergy, between you, your publishing house, and several literacy communities, most definitely you should be able to make adequate what's it called adequate profit from the sale of your products, of your books. So yes, I think a lot of sensitizations should be done in that direction.
All right.
We really need to come together as an industry, put things in place. We as the literacy communities, we're readily was but available market already.
Thank you very much.
Come to us.
Right. Yeah, thank you very much, Sayo. We're pressed with time now. Thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you very, very much for having me once again.
We'll be speaking to Olubusayo Makinde. She's the founder, The Bookaholic. After the break, we're going to be looking at the cost of doing business and how companies protect margins and keep growing. Just stay with us.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorrit is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International News Media Association. All welcome, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about business days. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorrit is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association. All welcome, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about business days. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question. You'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
Nigeria, a land of boundless energy, driven by the pulse of over 200 million dreams. At the heart of this momentum stands a giant, Seplat Energy, an indigenous powerhouse accounting for a vital share of Nigeria's oil and gas output, propelled by the historic acquisition milestone with the acquisition of ExxonMobil's onshore and shallow water assets, significantly expanding its production capacity and marking its entry into offshore operations. We are the engine of prosperity, Nigeria's leading domestic gas supplier with a total gas production output of 2.7 billion cubic feet, and the landmark Ano gas project delivering first gas. We have elevated our total processed gas output to 855 million standard cubic feet per day onshore. Indeed, we have brought domestic gas utilization to new heights, powering industries and securing energy for millions. But we are not just growing production, we're growing responsibly. By ending routine flares, we are decarbonizing our operations today to protect the Nigeria of tomorrow. Our reach is expanding. From offshore gas distribution to the growth of CNG for transport and industry, we are deepening our presence across the entire value chain. Our impact reaches the grassroots. Through innovative mini-grid projects, we are bringing clean, reliable energy to local communities, fueling economic empowerment where it's needed most. We are more than an energy company. We are a partner in progress, a leader in the energy transition, a giant rooted in Nigeria for Nigeria. Seplat Energy, leading Nigeria's energy.
Every legacy has a beginning. Ours evolved. Built on trust and carried forward as a second-generation family legacy, Bemio has grown into Nigeria's largest cash-in-transit provider, trusted where precision and reliability matter most. But we are more than movement. We deliver protection at every level, from professional guarding to journey management to concierge services. And through Bemio Polo, we reflect the identity, heritage and standards we uphold. This is modern service. This is a legacy in motion. Bemio, your partner to safer living.
At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank.
Attention business leaders. Want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today. Attention business leaders. Want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today.
Welcome back to the Business Morning Live. On our third conversation this morning, we're going to be examining the cost of doing business and how companies can protect margins and keep growing. And of course, Nigeria's business environment is changing rapidly. While some macroeconomic indicators are showing signs of improvement, businesses are still grappling with high operating costs, changing consumer behavior, expensive financing, infrastructure challenges, and intense competition. For many companies, the challenge is no longer simply about increasing sales. It is about protecting profit margins while keeping customers, managing costs, and finding room to grow. So what should businesses be doing differently in this environment? How can companies balance rising costs with consumer affordability? And how much can technology, better operations, and smarter commercial strategies help businesses remain profitable? To discuss this, we're joined by Oyelakin Oluwatosin Festus, as the Chief Operating Officer at Dwell Realty Limited. Good morning. It's good to have you on the show. All right, let's start off with the big picture now. From your experience running businesses, how would you describe the current cost of doing business in Nigeria, and what is putting the greatest pressure on company margins?
The individual costs. So they are not mutually exclusive. It is the cumulative effect of several costs. They increase at each point in time. You have the cost of energy, logistics, technology, people, financing, transportation. Mention it. Then before we now go to the other side of imported inputs, the customer acquisition, they are becoming expensive nowadays due to the, of course, the reality of things nowadays, and businesses are having to absorb some of these increases because customers are also under pressure as well. So there's this margin that now have to squeeze with from both sides, but it has have to be more disadvantageous on the business side. So and that is why one thing we should pay attention to is the cost of inefficiency rather. So when these margins are already under pressure, there is poor processes, there's duplicated efforts. So with sales conversion, then the customer turn out to it, and operational waste becomes much more expensive. So the bottom line is that businesses are not only fighting rising costs, so they're also fighting the cost of inefficiency as well, which I would say is the actual cost of doing business.
Many businesses are reporting higher revenue, but they're not necessarily strong profit, right? So why is that happening, and why does it tell us, or what does it tell us about the quality of growth?
Well, revenue growth by itself does not tell you whether a business is healthy. I know you can also testify to that in the business world. The recent closing of some popular businesses. So you can actually grow revenue while at the same time increase cost of acquiring customers. So that way you may think as your cost is increasing, your revenue is also growing, which is true, but the profitability. So it's where the problem is. So businesses, I believe, need to move beyond asking, how much did we sell? How much did we grow? But they should start asking, how much did it cost us to have that revenue? And how much value itself the customer did we actually spend on the customer? We call it the customer acquisition cost. So quality growth is it should be repeatable, it should be profitable and sustainable. So if I have to spend 10 naira in the process, for an example, to acquire a customer, and then I'm generating 5 naira as value, that is definitely a problem, and it's not how things are supposed to be. So it does not solve the problem.
So how should businesses approach pricing when their own costs are, rising, but consumers are already under pressure and they're becoming more price sensitive?
Well, I believe pricing should be based on value and economics, not just on what the competitors are charging. So the businesses need to understand their cost structure, because there are times where we are like, okay, we do market research, we do market comparison. What is the value that this particular company, which is a competing company, is pushing their own across? Maybe we may need to do that as well too. But we need to understand that different customer segments, they have different willingness to pay. So instead of just applying a blanket price increase, so we should look at the packaging, payment terms and conditions, which is why the sachet economy is actually working well nowadays. So we should look at volume, discounts, and many other factors like that. So the worst thing a business can do is to just increase price arbitrarily and discover that it has destroyed the demand, because now that we have to now work on how to repair the damage instead of forging forward.
So at what point do you think cost cutting would become counterproductive? How can businesses reduce their expenses without having to damage the product's quality, also the customer experience, or the brand's ability to grow?
Well, cost cutting becomes counterproductive when companies will start cutting arbitrarily, like I normally say. So, for instance, now the sales team is like the engine. Though the product is there, the product part is there, but the sales team are actually the one who work on bringing in the revenue. So, if companies are now in a bid to start cutting costs, they start reducing the salespeople, they start reducing the customer support, they start lowering product quality, because now, just like the current landscape, so more companies are now looking at the quantity instead of just the quality. So maybe companies are now eliminating training or delaying important technology investments. So those are actually harmful ways of cutting costs. So I prefer to separate the costs that do not create the value from the ones that actually create the value. The goal is not to spend less, but actually it is to how will I put it now? To reduce the waste. So because there are many operational inefficiencies that actually cost waste. So instead of focusing on how to reduce and spend less, so the focus should instead be on how to waste less.
So for businesses looking to have to increase their revenue, should the priority be acquiring more existing customers, or more new customers, or to spend more, or to just improve their customer retention?
Well, I would say both are mutually exclusive. So, but for me as an operator, I'm going to start with retention. So, if a business is losing customers through the back door, so that means they are pouring more money into acquisition through the front door. So, like I said, the customer acquisition cost. So, compared to the lifetime value, LTV. So that's the CAC compared to the lifetime value. So, the lifetime value has to be much more than what it costs. So the sequence I have preferred working with is retention, then expansion, then making sure that once the acquisition is there, the retention is at least safeguarded. So because once you understand why the customers stay, why they leave, and then how to increase their value, you can scale acquisition much more confidently. So that way, even while retaining the customers, even with retention, you are still bringing in more, and those who are coming in, you are still able to retain them.
So let's talk technology and AI now. They are increasingly being presented as tools for improving productivity. Where do you think businesses realistically use technology to reduce cost and improve profitability?
Well, thank God that now the uproar has died down when AI actually first started, becoming mainstream. Everywhere, like AI is going to replace your job, and companies were looking like they were thinking, okay, where can we use AI? But I believe the question should be, instead of that, where are we losing the money? Where are we losing the productivity? And how can we use technology? How can we use AI to solve it? So that could be in automated reporting, through CRM management, which is very important for customer retention, which I answered in the previous question you asked me. So in customer support, lead qualification, document processing, for us here at Dua IoT, we've been able to automate some of those processes so that we don't spend too much. So we're able to satisfy customers faster through using that medium. So we can use companies can use AI in forecasting, in market content, then repetitive administrative tasks, like I mentioned, that we use. So instead of having to go through a series of people to just get a customer's transaction processed, it can be easily done. It can be automated. So if you automate a broken process, so you're able to simply create a faster broken process. So which is like not actually solving the problem where it ought to be solved. So but instead, once the process is already run smoothly, and you're now able to find, okay, how can we better run this better? Not that a broken system is now what you are trying to now automate.
So from your experience across different sectors, speak to us about the operational mistakes, businesses do commonly while growing, and what are the mistakes they commonly make that eventually eats into their profit?
Well, one of them is what I've spoken about in the last point, which is trying to cut costs arbitrarily. So like cutting the most important units. So another one is growing before building the system that can accommodate that growth. For instance, now you are in the market, you just started servicing your first 100 clients. So there should be structures in place to manage them before you now grow. In fact, even before you start building your go-to-market strategy. So it should have been set in place, some of those structures. So because when businesses grow faster than their processes, so they realize that the founder becomes the process. So the second that I would say where businesses are making mistake is the feasibility. So most of them do not know where their leads are, which is why sometimes I'm brought in what conversion rates look like. So and some people make the mistake of thinking publicity and visibility is not their main concern at that point in time. So that would be a huge mistake because you need to be seen. So you might have the best offer on the market, but if you are not visible, if you are not at a vantage point, it will be an issue. The third one is hiring reactively. So because we are now growing now, we should just start hiring anyhow, just bringing in people. So because like I said, you don't fight to automate a broken system, because if you do, you are just going to automate a broken process as well too. So when you hire to fix a problem that could have fixed in another way, instead of fixing the process, you still have it. And the fourth, I will say, is weak accountability, whereby there is being busy without accountability. So nobody clearly owns the outcome. We don't know who is responsible for this. And many the startup phase this mistake. Sorry, just so they make a mistake, and apparently they find out the hard way. So what should be more of a business? I should make a business more disciplined and not just less disciplined. So the more you go, the more you set systems in place so that you can avoid losing out on revenue, especially in the operational aspects.
Right. So you were saying that financing remains a major concern for most businesses. So how should companies think about borrowing, expansion, and investment when the cost of capital is still relatively high?
Well, that is kind of let's say tricky, because depending on the situation. So I would say that is not inherently bad. Many businesses, they need it to scale, they need fundings and all. So the key question, the most important thing, is what the money is being used for, and whether the expected return on investment is going to justify the cost of the capital. So if a business borrows expensively, if they borrow now to fund an operation, and why they are yet to prove their economics, why they are not sure of the revenue to be generated, so it is actually them using the debt to magnify a problem. They're actually increasing their I like to call it pitfall. So before expanding, before we search for maybe funding and all, I believe businesses need to understand the unit economics. So what it costs, and the cash flow position, and then their repayment capacity if worst comes to worst. There is this particular edutech platform, so I don't want to mention the name, but at least when it happened that they had to follow up, they were able to return the part of the investors' money. So, and that's being forward thinking, if I would say. So they've actually thought about what could come up, they've set structures in place, and if all things had been equal, if things had gone as expected, I'm sure that they won't have had the issue. So businesses need to understand the unit economics and have a particular forecast, then the repayment capacity if they are sure of the revenue coming.
So for SMEs in particular, there is often a temptation to chase growth at all costs. Now, do you think businesses should be prioritizing growth or profitability in the current environment that they find themselves?
Well, for this, I won't see it as growth versus profitability. So instead, I will see it as making profitable growth instead. So there are stages where a business may invest ahead of revenue, especially like I said, when they are trying to build the system, build the infrastructure, or when they are capturing the market share. So when they are trying to, let's penetrate the market, when they are building their GTM, their go-to-market strategy. So, but there should also be a clear path that is going to show that the investment is actually going to produce sustainable economics. So it's not about just growing, but at the same time, is it profitable? So the recent in the business world, again, I won't want to mention the name, but we all know it was not as if they were not getting the revenue, but the profitability. So growth at any cost will only make sense if you know what that cost is buying you. So you may not mind the cost of acquisition if you are sure that at the end of the day, so the cost is going to bring you much more. And in this case, not only growth, not only expansion, but profitability as well.
All right, now looking ahead, what do you think Nigerian businesses should be doing to position themselves for stronger growth if the broader economic environment continue to improve?
Well, I will say that they focus on 5 things. So, as an operations person, numbers is very essential in operations in the company. So they should be able to understand the margins, the customer economics, the cash flow. In fact, even before, right from the drawing table, right from the point of strategizing, they should know the number. So they should also build the operational discipline. They should document processes, establish accountability. Like I said, there should be someone responsible for each decision and the outcome. And then, of course, they should measure the performance. Investing in customers is always very important as well too. The retention and customer experience, even from the point of trying to acquire the customers, publicity, marketing, those are what help them to like capture the market share. So that should become important when acquisition is becoming expensive. So they should invest in their customers. That is what is going to guarantee that they will be there for them. They will be able to retain them. Also, they should use technology intelligently. So some processes are like wasted, like I said. In the cost of doing business, they should try and cut cost in that aspect, which is cutting waste, not actually the important part. So they should improve decision making. There are some, in the cases of micromanagement, they end up wasting time, and time, like we normally say, is money before decisions are made. So then they should build for resilience. So let's not just build businesses that only works when everything goes right. We should always consider the worst case scenario. So if worst comes to worst, so we will be able to survive. So the businesses that have been winning, I believe will win, are not necessarily the ones with the biggest revenues. They will be the ones that can convert the revenue into LD margins. So they are the ones that can retain their customers. They are not just losing their customers. So they are the ones that can adapt quickly where there is a change in the market behavior. So and they are the ones that can continue creating value despite changing conditions.
Thank you so much for your time, Oyelake. It was really good to have you on the Business Money Life.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're speaking to Oyelake Festus Tomiwa, is the Chief Operating Officer at Dwell Realty Limited. And of course, the Business Morning Live show continues with the social listening segment after this break. To stay with us.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, Business Day fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. Business Day is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape,
For 25 years, Business Day has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammed International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, Business Day now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new Business Day website today and experience the future of news.
Nigeria, a land of boundless energy, driven by the pulse of over 200 million dreams. At the heart of this momentum stands a giant, Seplat Energy, an indigenous powerhouse accounting for a vital share of Nigeria's oil and gas output, propelled by the historic acquisition milestone with the acquisition of ExxonMobil's onshore and shallow water assets, significantly expanding its production capacity and marking its entry into offshore operations. We are the engine of prosperity, Nigeria's leading domestic gas supplier with a total gas production output of 2.7 billion cubic feet, and the landmark Ano gas project delivering first gas. We have elevated our total processed gas output to 855 million standard cubic feet per day onshore. Indeed, we have brought domestic gas utilization to new heights, powering industries and securing energy for millions. But we are not just growing production, we're growing responsibly. By ending routine flares, we are decarbonizing our operations today to protect the Nigeria of tomorrow. Our reach is expanding. From offshore gas distribution to the growth of CNG for transport and industry, we are deepening our presence across the entire value chain. Our impact reaches the grassroots. Through innovative mini-grid projects, we are bringing clean, reliable energy to local communities, fueling economic empowerment where it's needed most. We are more than an energy company. We are a partner in progress, a leader in the energy transition, a giant rooted in Nigeria for Nigeria. Seplat Energy, leading Nigeria's energy transition, powering the future.
Every legacy has a beginning. Ours evolved. Built on trust and carried forward as a second-generation family legacy, Bemio has grown into Nigeria's largest cash-in-transit provider, trusted where precision and reliability matter most. But we are more than movement. We deliver protection at every level, from professional guarding to journey management to concierge services. And through Bemio Polo, we reflect the identity, heritage, and standards we uphold. This is modern service. This is a legacy in motion. Bemio, your partner to safer living.
At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank. At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank. At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank. At Providus.
And of course, if it's sparking conversation, then we are bringing it to your seat. Welcome to the social listening segment, where we bring you the stories, debates, and moments generating conversations across social media. I am Deborah Eze. And now let's get into what is making waves online. For the first conversation today, Senator Francis Fatherson has arrived at the Osun State Police Command headquarters in Osogbo for questioning over remarks he allegedly made in a viral video ahead of Saturday's governorship election. Now, Fatherson, who represents Osun East Senatorial District in the National Assembly, arrived at the command on Wednesday afternoon following an invitation by the police. He was accompanied by the Commissioner of Police in charge of election and security, Samuel Erale. The senator was invited over alleged comments considered capable of threatening public peace and inciting violence during an All Progressives Congress campaign event in Ilesha. Let's take a look at the video. Netizens are reacting to this story, and of course the first reaction from UZ, and it said this is supposed to be a senator representing members of his constituency, is ordering his thugs to kill his constituent. What a senseless utterance and disgrace, a lawmaker exhibiting law breaking. And a reaction from Akinri Made, and it said, at this point, a large majority of Nigerians already see this invitation as nothing more than a staged performance. It appears to be aimed at creating the impression of action, particularly for the intentional community, rather than in reflecting any real commitment to addressing the issue. Another reaction from Elon, not the mask, said, some people are arrested or imprisoned for criticizing a governor, while an APC member accused of instigating violence and the death of opposition supporters is merely invited for questioning. Another reaction from Solomon, and he said, in a sane country, this man won't be sitting down holding press conference. He would have been in detention, begging for his release or life. But sadly, this is Nigeria, where everything is said to be fair. Nothing will happen, my dear. Solomon, I am not your dear. Another reaction. We have Maslow Food Matt, and he said, for that statement, the senator is supposed to be arrested and locked up or put under house arrest for inciting election violence. The evidence is there. For once, do the right thing. I would say it's really, really sad that Senator Fadensin, had to be caught in that in this kind of will I call it in this kind of impression where he had to incite violence. You owe to the people who are supposed to vote. We owe them I'm looking for the word where now the citizens themselves who are to come out to vote on Saturday, they're already scared about the way the election had been, how the opposition and then the sitting party have been going head to head for the past 2 weeks, and they are wondering if they have to go out to vote because they are scared that something would happen. And then they're hearing it from a sitting senator, where he had to make the statement he made, inciting violence. Please, I would say this, for the citizens who are supposed to go cast their votes, please, no election is worth your life. Nobody should use you to incite violence. Nobody should use you to, do things that against the electoral laws, the electoral act. Nobody should use you to, constitute anything that would go against the voting law. Just cast your vote and allow your vote to speak for you. It is really, really sad that we are getting this from a senator, and I know for a fact that the Osun State election is going to be smooth and fair, and the will of the people would be done at the end of the day. So I'm glad that the police invited him, but it would be really, really sad if it's just for mere appearance, so people can see that, at the end of the day, he said what he said, the police is working. I really hope that they actually conduct investigation, because at the end of the day, truthfully, the fact still needs to be established, and the senator is actually going through due process. Being invited is actually one of the process. So we really hope that the law actually take its course in this. And like I said, no election is worth your life. Just vote, cast your votes, and then go back to your houses. No one should use you to instigate any form of violence during election. Now, on the second conversation today, a video showing a tense encounter between a custom officer, and a man wearing Meta AI glasses at a checkpoint has sparked reactions online. The Nigerians debating the right to record security personnel during the official checks. The incident, according to the viral footage circulating on social media, began after the officer appeared to challenge the man over the recording capability of his glasses. The confrontation has since triggered discussion about transparency, privacy, and the use of wearable recording devices during security operations. And that's the video playing right there. But let's take a look at some of the tweets, how netizens are reacting to this. All right, the first reaction from Modern Love Digital World, that says smart glasses are going to make public checkpoints chaotic for the next 5 years. Authority simply isn't ready for invisible recording. Another one from Kizito, and he said, if he wasn't wearing those glasses, they would have delayed or tried to pin him down with something. Shake my head. If you're doing the right thing, why would you be scared of someone wearing a recording glasses? This is one of the reasons why they will never agree to wearing body cam. Another reaction from King Azodo, and he said, I think it's time for every Nigeria to own a Meta glass because the impunity in our security forces is getting out of hand. And finally, I think from William Stobie, and he said, is this even allowed? Why would they not want him to record there and try to take his Meta glasses? It is a public space and is allowed to record if he wants. I want to agree with every Nigerian should actually own one, but how many Nigerians can actually own a Meta glass? Exactly. How many Nigerians, have had their belly filled up to the extent of having to buy one? But I must really say that I like the fact that technology is moving faster than our rules, and I like how, if any of, I'm sure our viewers have an idea of what the Meta glasses actually look like. It looks very ordinary, like every ordinary eyewear, but you wouldn't know that it is actually recording. I think it's really good, because really, if you're trying to extort me legally, ask me for money when you're not supposed to, especially most of the illegal checkpoints that we have, I think I would actually really need to record you because you're doing the wrong thing. You're doing the wrong thing. So if you're doing the wrong thing, I need to have evidence to show that, okay, this is clearly, what you're doing and it is actually wrong. Good thing that technology is actually moving faster than, some of the rules that we have, and the whole debate about whether or not he consented to being recorded. Did I consent to being harassed? Did I consent to being extorted? Or did I consent to being asked for money? Exactly. So if all of us do the right thing, I don't see the reason why I would want to pick up my phone or my Meta glass to record you. So good thing that he recorded them, and from the video we could see that the officer actually tried to put his hands on him or had his hands on him, and in my head I'm like, things like this would not happen in a sane country. And I have to agree with that user that said that is why they would never want to wear body cam, because they know the number of atrocities that they tend to commit once they are on their uniform. So let's move to the final conversation today. A man identified as Aliyu Bala has been sentenced to 13 years imprisonment and 20 strokes of the cane for raping his neighbor's 10-year-old daughter in Mina, Niger State. The court also ordered the convict to pay 250,000 naira in compensation to the victim. After the judgment, authorities took the convict, Aliyu Bala, to the Akimi Palace in Boso, where he was publicly flogged in the presence of community members. The Director General of the Niger State Child Rights Agency, Barrister Umul Katume Mohammed, described the development as an unprecedented step to show that the government does not take a sexual offense against children lightly. Let's take a look at the video. Let's take a look at how netizens are reacting to this. Of course, the first reaction from Supreme, and he said, to be a child in Nigeria must be difficult. If you're not subjected to sexual abuse, you'll be subjected to physical abuse by those who are supposed to look after you. And a reaction from Servants of God's Purpose, and he said, I look forward to the day when this will be done to elite criminals in Nigeria, especially the political caucus of the elite criminal group. I am not sure the whip pained the guy. Exactly. He must have developed a thick skin for crime and punishment. May all criminals repent and be converted. Another one from NX1, and it said, from the flogging, you know they see nothing bad much about it. Going bad much about it. The only thing is that he didn't marry her properly, because what type of flogging is that? The final reaction from TM Donnan said, justice for the child is important, but public flogging should never replace proper legal process. The priority should be protecting the victim, ensuring the offender receives a lawful sentence, and strengthening systems that prevent child abuse, and encouraging survivors to report safely. First off, he has been sentenced to 13 years in prison and a fine of 250,000 naira, and I think is very small. What is 250,000 naira compared to the pain and the agony that this child, the truth is that this child is scarred for life, and the only way this girl can actually navigate through life is if she has the proper, she goes through the proper therapy. That is the only way the girl can actually have a proper life, a proper, existence. It's really sad. And that, what manner of flogging is that? It reminds me of when we were in secondary school and we had people who they want to flog, and then you see that they call them dusters. They dust, because that's what it felt like. It didn't feel like the flogging had any impact on him. But I'm really glad that the Niger State's Director General for Girl Child weighed in, and is going to serve his time. Is actually going to serve his time, and I really hope that there are protection for children. I don't see any reason why you should rape anyone, not to talk of a child. The truth is, if you have any intention, or you just think about having to sleep with a child, I think you need help. I think you need help. I don't think you should be living amongst sane humans. I don't think you should be living in the world. To be honest, if you have to have such dirty thinking for a child, a 13-year-old child, you have a problem and you need to be dealt with. Not to talk of now perpetrating the act. And I still stand by, for anyone who gets to rape anyone, it should be death. I don't believe the whole 13 years. Okay, after 13 years, it comes out and then he's repentant and we move on, the world move on, everybody's happy. Really, forgetting that somebody is scarred for life. I think it should be death. The person should be unalived. If you have to rape a child, you have to die, because you cannot put somebody in a traumatic position and think that a few years thrown at you will make up for it. It is really sad, and my heart goes to the little girl, because no amount of flogging or punishment or money can actually take back the scar that she has right now. Anyways, this is actually one of the headlines where you hear, and you just get really, 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 really sad. But our bigger responsibility is making sure, and it falls on everyone. This is away from the government now. It falls on everyone to make sure that, no child would have to become a victim in the first place, to have to ever, the victims are not to be blamed. I hear people say it all the time, oh, what was this person doing there? Oh, what was she wearing? That should not even be it at all. The victims are not to be blamed. It's the people who perpetrate the act that should be the one to be blamed. So we as individuals, as people, we have the responsibility to make sure that no child ever becomes a victim of rape, or anyone becomes a victim of rape. And that's a wrap on the conversation making waves around social media in Nigeria today. Thank you for watching the social listening segment. Thank you for sticking around for the Thursday edition of Business Morning Live. We started off with the news, down to the newspaper review, and we had 3 conversations on the show, and then the social listening segment. Of course, we'll come your way again tomorrow by 8 a.m. for the Friday edition of the Business Morning Life. My name is Deborah Eze. Do have yourself a beautiful morning.
Looking for fast and reliable answers to your business and economic questions? Meet SIA, BusinessDay's Strategic Intelligence Assistant, Nigeria's first AI-powered news chatbot. Simply visit businessday.ng, click the SIA chat icon, and ask your question. Company insights, government policies, or personal finance. SIA delivers instant answers powered by BusinessDay's trusted journalism. Smarter insights, faster decisions. Visit businessday.ng today and discover the future of business intelligence with SIA.
Attention business leaders. Want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorin is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association. All right, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about business days. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure of welcoming.
This is still the Business Day here from the 14th annual edition, and I've got a very lovely woman by my side this afternoon. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Absolutely. I'm Aderemi Saka. I'm the MD CEO of NASCON Allied Industries PLC, also known as Dangote Salt.
Fantastic. I'm going to start by asking you a simple question, really. NASCON Allied Industries relies almost entirely on imports, for its core raw materials, bringing in roughly $22 million to $24 million worth of goods annually. Now, tell me, how has this crisis in the Middle East, which has virtually halted, shipping fundamentally, has it shifted your organization's long-term approach to maritime risk management?
For us, it hasn't really impacted in terms of our imports, but the cost of importation has gone up. Our freight charges used to run between $21 and $25, and now we're seeing freight anywhere from $31 to $40. So that definitely has a significant impact on our cost. But what we are doing as a business is to also look at ways in which we can trim down on other costs. And so we've really looked at cost-saving initiatives across the board to be able to cushion that weight, because you definitely don't want to pass that on to your consumers.
Right. So we see many manufacturers they are increasingly turning to backward integration to reduce their dependence on imported raw materials. So how has this strategy helped your company?
In terms of backward integration of salt, that is very difficult because based on research, salt is you're not able to cultivate and to manufacture salt at the large scale within the country. But we're looking at all our other resources to see how we can really rely on local manufacturers. That is across the board in terms of our packaging material, in terms of other additives that we have to not just our salt but also our seasoning. We're definitely relying more on local manufacturers to support those endeavors.
Now, you talked about something right there on the stage. You mentioned that energy cost amounts to up to 40% of your total input cost. So tell us more about that. Like, just break it down for us.
So that is an average across the nation, across manufacturing companies. You're seeing 30 to 40% of your costs are from energy costs. So what we have done as a business is, we try to ensure that all of our plants, they're running in the most efficient manner. We have a mix of both AGO generators and gas power generators, and so that is able to mitigate some of that cost. And then again, but the major thing I would say is efficiency, ensuring that you're producing in an efficient manner and you're optimizing your capacity, so that way your variable costs are significantly less per product.
Fantastic. I think we'll just leave it there today because we know you have to run and we have to wrap up. But thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
This is still the Business Day CEO from the 14th annual edition, and I've got a very lovely woman by my side this afternoon. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Absolutely. I'm Aderemi Saka. I'm the MD CEO of NASCON Allied Industries PLC, also known as Dangote Salt.
Fantastic. I'm going to start by asking you a simple question, really. NASCON Allied Industries relies almost entirely on imports, for its core raw materials, bringing in roughly...
Thank you so much for joining. Let's begin with the big picture, really. How would you assess the state of Nigeria's oil and gas industry today, particularly in terms of production, in the investment, revenue, and energy scarcity, security, all of these things? How would you assess it?
Yes, if you could remember that post-COVID, that our crude oil production actually went down. There was a time that we would say sometime around 2021, 2022, till some part of 2023, we were producing sub 700,000 barrels of crude per day because we had issues that were bordering on oil theft, pipeline vandalizations, and all that. But over time, this has been significantly, brought back to somewhere around 1,700 barrels per day. And for us, that is quite commendable. And also, if you also do an assessment of the oil and gas industry in the last few years, you are going to realize that there have been some trickling of investment that has come in, for foreign direct investment has come into that sector. And if you also remember that about 5 years ago, we passed the Petroleum Industry Act. So that act also contributed to some level of growth we have seen in this sector. But for us, are we supposed to be where we are? In terms, after the PIA was passed, the answer clearly is a no. Are we where we ought to be in terms of crude production? The answer clearly is a no. But have we made significant progress since the pipeline vandalization started and since the crude oil theft started? The answer clearly is a yes. So it's a mixed bag.
Right. Let's also talk about how Nigeria spends huge sums on rehabilitating its 4 government-owned refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna. Why is it that despite this massive investment over the years, we've still struggled to get these refineries operating sustainably?
Yes. So, those refineries, as you rightly said, some amount of money was invested into rehabilitating the refinery. That was the first rehabilitation that has took place in those refineries for, say, over 20 years. And we're quite excited that for once, our refineries are going to come into production. And what we advocated as Pengasan was that once the refinery is producing, the government needs to divest, give 51% shares of those refineries to private investors, and you will now keep 49% shares for energy security. But if you remember, the old Port Harcourt refinery started functioning, but not functioning optimally. Then the Warri refinery also came up. But when an assessment was done, it was discovered that what you feed into the refinery was not commensurate with what you get out from it. What do I mean? So if you feed a crude of, say, $1 million into the refinery, what you are going to get at the other end may be a product that is worth, let's say, about $600,000. So the question was now asked, should we continue to run those refineries in the state that they were and be running at a loss, or to shut it down, do another level of assessment, and bring in other investors to sell down the equity in those refineries, so that they'll become a partner, so that taking decisions will no longer be politicized. So that decision was made, and eventually they went for the second option. Yes, we recognize that billions of dollars have been spent in those refineries, and what I've told colleagues elsewhere is just like you have a car. So this your car, you have parked your car for 10 years, all right? The engines were bad, the tires were bad, the entire the transmission systems, they were bad. But you now brought 2 million. So if you wanted to sell the car at that state, the value of the car, they may tell you, is 1 million naira. But if you now invest, let's say, 2 million naira in the car, you were able to change the tires, you were able to change the transmission system, you were able to service the engine to a relatively good state. If you now want to sell the car, for example, the value will no longer be 1 million. The value of that car would now be maybe somewhere around 4 million naira. So that is the state of our refineries today. So that money that has been invested in the refinery, we could say that it has not gone down the drain, because when you visit the refineries, you are going to see new compressors, you are going to see new turbines, you are going to see the pumps all functioning, you are going to see a lot of parts that were replaced. So if you have valued the refinery before rehabilitation, maybe they would have been at the scrap level. But if you value those refineries today, the money you spent in it, you will see the reflection of it largely. So for us, what we have, we have endorsed what the current NNPC management is doing, saying that what they need to do is to bring in private investors who will buy some of the equities in the refineries. We are even pushing that they should buy minimum 51%, so that if government now owns 49%, there won't be any political interferences in awarding contracts, in carrying out maintenances, and in staffing of those refineries. It will become business decisions, and the most efficient business decision will be taken. So for us, we think what is currently being done is the right step in the right direction.
At what point should Nigerians begin to question whether continued rehabilitation is the right approach, or whether the government should consider a completely different ownership and management model for these refineries? At what point?
That is the point we are now. We're already at that point. The point that we are now is already a point whereby, if you see recently, the NNPC management went to China, they signed an MOU. Today, government owns 100% of the refineries. What Pengasan have advocated over time is the energy model, where you bring private equity owners, private investors that have both the technical capacity and the financial capability. If you remember, the NLNG, government owned 49%, and a consortium of the private sector led by Shell, Total Energies, and ENI, combined, they have 51% versus government 49%. That is why, if you see decisions taken in NLNG are taken grossly by these three people, because by the time you vote in the board, you have 51% votes. So even if government 49 becomes relatively significant. So that is the model that has kept this current NPC management want to imbibe. It is what Pengasan had advocated for over 25 years. And we are getting to that bus stop gradually. So for us, the operating model will change. So the question you have asked, at what point? We are almost at that point now. Because as we speak, the consortium of the Chinese investors, they were in Warri refineries. They were there for the last 2-3 months or thereabout. They've carried out comprehensive assessment of the Warri refinery. As we speak now, they are in Port Harcourt refinery. Because that is what we have advocated. Let private people that have managed refineries, that have managed petrochemical industry all over the world, let them come. Let them buy a good percentage of the shares. The reason is this. The reason government should not sell all its shares. Let's ask ourselves, why is it that today government is going to Dangote refinery to buy some shares through NNPC? The reason is because of energy security. There is no country in the world who will completely mortgage its energy security to the hand of private investors 100%. So to a very large extent, that is why government has also taken some stake in the Dangote refinery as at today. In the one government owns, we don't want government to sell 100%. No, it will become counterproductive. You have seen what happened in power. So the fact that they sold power, they sold the discos and they sold gencos, has it resulted to a better power supply? The answer clearly is a no. So for us, we think that partnership between the government and the private sector, like is done today in NLNG, is the best model to go.
Now, Festus, with the private refining capacity expanding, particularly the Dangote refinery, does it still make economic sense for government to own and operate refineries, or should we be saying that the NNPC should focus more on its core commercial and upstream responsibilities?
And the refinery is also NNPC core function. That is what relates with you and I. Most Nigerians don't even know about how crude is produced. They don't use crude, but you use a byproduct of crude. Yes, as we have said, Dangote refinery is a wonderful phenomenon that has happened to Nigeria, and Nigeria government must do everything possible to protect the refinery. But that doesn't also mean that the asset that you have, you will just allow it to be scrapped. No, it is not the best for our national interest. It's not the best for our national energy security. So for us, the refinery should be sustained, but the ownership model should change. By the time government sells 51% of this stake in this refinery, then it will no longer be owned principally by government, but government will now have substantive shares in it. You cannot say today, I cannot say today that government owns NLNG, but government has 49% shares in NLNG. And you can see year out, they turn it dividend to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They turn it dividend to our Federation account. So that is the kind of model that we have assessed 25 years ago. That is the best model that will work. But thank God we are there today with what the current NNPC management is doing. Like even when they were doing rehabilitation under the Mele Kyari-led NNPC, we have also told them that once we finish this rehabilitation, please let us sit down. Let's find a way to ensure that government divest from this refinery maximum 49% or minimum 49%. Allow the private investors to buy such shares, and that has been our position for over 25 years, and that is the direction this new NNPC management is taking the refinery operating model to.
Let's also talk about something that I think is very important. It's a recurring issue of the crude supply. If Nigeria succeeds in rehabilitating its refineries but cannot guarantee them sufficient crude feedstock, aren't we simply solving one problem and creating another one?
I know. First, I think in that issue of feedstock, as it is today as a country, so we produce roughly about, let's assume about 1.6, 1.7 million liters of crude per day. So this particular crude that we are producing, remember, the International Oil and Gas Company, they are partners to NNPC. NNPC manages the Federation shares in these various fields. All right. So now that percentage, out of the 1.7 million barrels per day, the shares of federal government could be approximately 800,000 barrels per day. So that particular 800,000 barrels per day, then I think government will have one or two obligations that they mortgage some of the oil to. Let's assume about 100,000 was mortgaged, but I need to check the figures again. All right. So now the other 700,000 could be used in supplying the domestic obligations. You saw what NUPRC released 2 days ago. That 56.3 million. 56.3 million liters was supplied to our to local refineries in last quarter. So that is not bad. If when you divide that will give you maybe somewhere over 500,000 barrels of crude per day. So again, refinery production. There are countries that doesn't even have crude that imports crude to produce. A country like Singapore, they don't have single drop of crude, but Singapore as a country, they are they refine good quantity of crude in Southeast Asia. So I don't think crude should be that main challenge. Yes, why it is good for Dangote refineries and other refineries beyond government. They should also approach the private sector, like the Chevron that operates in Nigeria, like Total Energies, like ExxonMobil, like ENI, Owando, and all of them. They should also approach them, sit down together, and sign an MOU on how they could get crude from them. But overall, crude is an international business, all right? So you could source crude from any part of the world, but it is good that our government should first of all consider crude to be supplied to the local refiners because it assures energy security, most especially now that you have wars going on in different parts of the world that impact on crude supply.
Let's also come to NNPC's planned listing on the NGX. What would you say in your view? What in your view would this listing change about the way that the NNPC is run, particularly in terms of transparency, accountability, and even corporate governance?
Yeah, it's quite good. It's quite good. You know, when the PIA was passed, one of the innovations of the PIA was actually moving NNPC from a corporation to a karma company. So as a karma company, there are a lot of obligations, that you are required to fulfill. And that is When NNPC moved, you could see that a company that was making literally losses in the last 40 years plus, over time, they've now started making profits. And also, you could now see the books of NNPC. Before they became Karma companies, you hardly see the financials of NNPC. But today, you can lay your hand P&L. You can lay your hand on the balance sheet. You can lay your hand on the cash flow statements and all of that. So basically, being a Karma company has further improved that level of transparency. And going to stock exchange, moving from a limited liability company to now a PLC, it's a further demonstration of transparency. When they are listed, Nigeria can actually go to the stock exchange and buy shares of NNPC Limited. All right. So it will no longer be 100% owned by government, but it will now be owned by the entire Nigerians. And that is actually the way to go, because the Saudi Aramcos of this world, they have listed. The Petrobras of this world, they have listed. The Destat Oil and all that, they were all listed in their respective stock exchange. So we think that that's the best way to go in terms of transparency, in terms of good governance. Because when you are listed, the Security and Exchange Commission has some code of conduct, all right? They have the rules that could govern the way with which you administer your systems, the way with which you administer your finances. So your reporting system will much more scrutinized. So it's the best way to go, and it's a welcome development.
I like that you've said it's a welcome development, but I'm also curious to know one thing, and I'm sure that the audience also wants to know this. It's if this proposed listing, can it, beyond unlocking significant private capital for NNPC and helping finance investment across exploration, perhaps production, gas and refining itself, are there some deeper structural problems that a stock market listing alone cannot solve?
Yes, in every organization, I mean, there is no organization in the world that could not improve much more on the structural, on the way the structure is, all right? If you go to Apple today, if you go to Amazon, all right, every now and then they continuously, look at their board and see what they can infuse in order to bring about best governance. Before now, Chief Technology Officer, CTO was not part of the board of most of the companies. In fact, the position CTO was never existing in a lot of companies. But as we now enter the era of machine learning, the era of AI, and all that, you now see that CTOs now became a prime thing in most organizations. So that is how structures are reviewed every now and then. We strongly believe, and we know, that NNPC listing in the stock exchange would unlock the company. We even want them to list significant shares in the stock exchange, like Saudi Aramco then that listed just 5%. But no, we want NNPC to list significant shares so that Nigerians will see NNPC Limited as part of them. If somebody owns even 100 units of shares or 1,000 units of shares, you could say, okay, this is my company. I'm part of the equity owner of this company. But beyond that, looking at NNPC Limited today, as a company, yes, there is always room for improvement in every organization, all right? So today, if you look, before the PIA, there wasn't a substantive board in NNPC Limited, all right? Yeah, the board that was existing before was chaired by the Minister of Petroleum, so there wasn't that dichotomy between the management and clearly the board. But today, you have the board of management and, the governance board, and you also have the management team. From the governance board to the top management, and it cascades down to the bottom. And that is also the improvement that PIA has brought. So for us, we strongly believe, and we know that with NNPC listing, and you now have the Nigerian public scrutinizing it much more, and also the managers of the Nigerian Stock Exchange are coming in to even scrutinize their books much more, bringing the requirement For a listed company, there are sets of requirements that must be fulfilled, and all the books will now be open for the public to scrutinize, just as every other company that is listed in the stock exchange. So clearly, we think that it's quite good in terms of structure. Yes, every now and then they have to keep reworking the structure, look at all your business models. So today you have different SBUs, you have different business models. Which of these business model is not bringing you profit? Which of these business model is more or less like a cost center? So what can you do to rejig it? If you cannot rejig it, you want to offload the portfolio. That is why you see companies all over the world. They offload portfolios every now and then. If you see maybe Total Energies, for example, at the time, they were functioning in Cameroon, all right? But it got to a time in Cameroon, it wasn't really going too well. The business of the A&P, that wasn't going well. They sold the Cameroon affiliate. So you could see Chevron, once in a while, they rationalize their portfolios. Which of these portfolios, which of these businesses are not really adding value to the system? Which of these businesses are not improving our return on investment? What can we do with them? So the ones that are not coming forth, they offload. So it will get to that point as well, where NNPC will start rationalizing its portfolios, look at all the various business models, because NNPC is so vast. They have a lot of business models. So it will get to that time where they will start rationalizing, looking at the one that they think will not serve their purpose, will not serve their objective effectively. And when they see such, they will offload. But then they could also offload one and buy another one tomorrow. Who said NNPC, for example, cannot buy some of the fields that, let's assume, the one Shell sold the last time, as some of it that is sold to Renaissance, the JV of ExxonMobil that was sold to Seplat. Who said NNPC cannot come and say, okay, we want to buy the shares that the JV of Shell, the JV of ExxonMobil. So you keep rationalizing your portfolio. You sell the one that is not productive, and you add more that you think will be much more productive.
Mr. Festus Osifo, let's also talk about and go beyond the refineries and the NNPC listing. We see that Nigeria continues to battle crude theft, pipeline vandalism, declining production, and concerns over investment. What's the biggest threat to the future competitiveness of Nigeria's oil and gas industry from your perspective?
Yes, the biggest, today, yes, whereas the issue of crude theft, it has been curtailed significantly. Like you remember, about 3-4 years ago, we were battling with 600,000, 700,000 barrels per day of crude production. But today, it has moved significantly, increased by over 100%. So that's the right step in the right direction. So beyond the issue of crude theft, one of the challenges that we've actually seen or identified that is a threat to future investment in the oil and gas industry is actually policy somersault. It's actually inconsistency in policies and also not allowing PIA to have operated for a very long time before we start tinkering with it. So that for us is fundamental. And also, if you could recall, some months back, I think sometime in February or thereabout, there was a presidential order that was signed. I think presidential order number 9, if I could remember, that varied some of the provision in the PIA. We contested it and we said no, it is not good for you to use presidential order in varying the law. If you want to amend the law, please take that piece of legislation, walk to National Assembly and get it amended. But so that before they amend, we have public hearing, we have those level of discourse where all stakeholders will come and make input into such laws. But using executive order to amend a piece of legislation, that is an aberration. Because what do happen is that investors are watching, they are looking that, no, if although what was amended will not affect them 100% as a ban, but if an executive order could be used in amending an act just the way it was done, then that means tomorrow executive order could just come to increase their taxes, and executive order could come to mandate them to do things that are not in the law. So it's actually a problem because an oil and gas business is a long-term investment. It's not an investment that you put money into and you think that within 1-2 years you are going to gain that money. No. when you invest in an oil and gas field, it takes you a minimum of 10 years for you to recoup your investment. So as an investor is coming, the investor is looking, okay, I'm coming to invest in this country. What is the certainty of the law? All right. So if I invest today and I use the law I'm seeing today to calculate my economics, to do all my commercial evaluations and all that, where are we going to be in the next 4-5 years? Will the law change before I start making profit in the long-term investment I have embarked on? When they cannot actually answer that, it's difficult for them to invest. So investors love certainty, investors love stability, and that is why the conference that we are holding next week, the 5th edition of the Pengassan Energy and Labor Summit, will be talking about this greatly. How do we bring about stability in governance in the oil and gas industry?
Speaking about the conference, speaking about Pengassan itself, my final question to you will be on some of the reforms that you would say from Pengassan's perspective that the government must implement now if they are to ensure that Nigeria gets this maximum economic value from its oil and gas resources while actually making sure to protect jobs and attract sustainable investment. What are these 3 reforms, just in 30 seconds?
30 seconds is too small to actually say that, but the first of them all for us is the quarantine licensing round taking place, all right? Because we feel that government, we don't have business producing less than 2 million barrels of crude per day. We have over 38 billion barrels of proven reserves. So as of today, we ought to be doing nothing less than 3 to 4 million barrels of crude production per day. Because if we continue in this rate, in fact, crude, we will still be producing our crude in the next 50 years. But if we increase the barrel, and there will be much more revenue to government. And one of the ways to do that is through the licensing round that the NUPRC is currently doing. One of the things we've advised government severally, is that when you are giving licenses, give it to people that have the technical capacity and the commercial capacity to be able to execute, all right? And don't put punitive measures. Don't slam a lot of fee for them to acquire those fees. Because the revenue you want to make is not from licensing round, but the revenue is actually from the crude production. So slamming a very high fee on the licensing is more or less a disinvestment. But when you bring down the amount of money with which they go for these licenses, it could encourage them to do a little bit more. Because we must invest in the Nigeria oil and gas industry in the next few years for us to ramp up production by 2030, 2035 to 3 million, 4 million barrels per day, so that Nigerians can truly reap the benefit of this crude oil production. And that is number one. Then another thing that we think that government could do is to allow PIA to operate, not to use executive order in varying the provisions of the PIA, because the investors, they want certainty. The day that executive order was passed, a particular MD of an international oil and gas company placed the call to me, and they were worried. And that is a level of uncertainty that you bring about when you go about it this way. Then another thing is also issue that is bordering on financing, because today most of the licensing rounds are given to indigenous oil and gas companies. Most of these oil and gas companies does not really have the ability to attract finance. It's just a very few of them that have done extremely well. So there must be that level of capacity building, there must be that partnership from government, and there must be guarantees from government as well, so that these companies will be able to attract finance. Unfortunately, our banks in Nigeria, they are not deep enough to be able to finance a long-term oil and gas project, because when this project runs into billions of dollars. So that means you are going to need foreign direct investment. You are going to need both equity and debt, to be taken offshore, all right? And in order for you to attract that, they need some level of guarantees. And government must be prepared to give such guarantees to these companies so that they will be able to come and produce effectively.
Right, thank you very much, Comrade Festus Osifo, President of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengassan. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
This has been the Business Day exclusive right here on Business Day Television. Thank you so much for watching.
am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, BusinessDay is your guide.
For 25 years, BusinessDay has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammed International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, BusinessDay now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new BusinessDay website today and experience the future of news.